All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Mortgage Mastery 2025 virtual event presented by Build Your Empire. Day one, we are getting started off here. So everybody, welcome to the show. Make sure if you have questions, comments, anything, you put those over there in the comment section. Our guests will get to those, or we'll get to those as soon as we can. I'm excited. We got some great speakers today, and I'm excited to get things kicked off. So I'm going to bring on our first speaker. And give me 1 second to bring in Jason Purcell. You are the Vice President of Certified Mortgage Partners. And I am excited to have you here, sir. Welcome to the show.
Awesome, Mitchell. Well, thanks so much for the invitation. It's an honor to be here with you guys today.
All right. Well, tell us what you're going to be talking about.
Really getting clear on your why and using that as a business tactic. And the title is Your Why is Your Secret Weapon. And my word for 2025 is impact, or if I'm impactful enough, everything will take care of itself. And we know that we've been in a tougher season that's lasted a lot longer than most of us anticipated. We still have a little bit of work to do, but we are going to get the reward. But I'll tell you what really just transformed me over the last 4 months is I heard a podcast, and one of the questions that was asked was, why do loan officers not hit their goals? And the person that was hosting the podcast really didn't know where that question was going. And, at first he said, well, I don't think that maybe they don't have a plan. Maybe they don't have any accountability. Maybe they don't have any leadership, or maybe they're just not willing to change their habits. And the gentleman who asked the question said, no, they just don't give a shit. And he said, they don't have a why that is emotionally connected to their goals and dreams. And I was getting ready to facilitate a mastermind that we do with loan officers in the marketplace that don't actually work for us. And I was preparing for that. And that question just really struck me. And my why that I've been saying for multiple years was to make a greater difference in the lives of those that I serve. And I thought that was a why. And as I reflected on it that morning, I'm like, that's a half-ass why. Like, that doesn't probably resonate with you. It didn't resonate with me, for example. And as I started reflecting, I was like, well, my why is family, and it's professional family. But even that, you need to go a lot deeper on that. And so my dad passed away a little over 11 months ago. And my dad was a partner in my business, retired for the last 12 years, but still had a minority equity position in the company. And now my mom has that. And my mom has never had any business or personal finance involvement ever. My dad just handled that stuff. And now I'm having to have those conversations around personal and business finances. And, we're still overstaffed right now. So I'm still operating in the red. And so rather than making deposits into the nest egg that was left behind, I'm asking for, capital infusions based on the equity position in the company right now. And so that is a why for me. Like, my mom is so front and center around my why, for example. And then, you think about family, for example, and I'm trying to present right now.
Yep. I'll bring that up and then give you the stage here.
Okay. And so the other thing comes down to, our children. That's not going.
I see your slideshow up.
Yeah, it's not progressing though.
Oh, gotcha. Let me see if I can.
There we go.
There it goes.
So, I mean, this is my parents right here. And so that's my dad, obviously. That's my parents when they got married in Germany. They met during the military. And that's also my wife's parents as well. And so they retired last year, and I don't want them to have any financial pressure whatsoever in retirement. So those are clear whys around my family. And then here is our children. And so we have 4 children, my daughter, Sierra, our son, Jared, our daughter, Ella, and our daughter, Haley. And then we have a 7-year-old granddaughter, Kaya. And in the middle, you're going to see our daughter, Ella. And that is her about to go under anesthesia for her 10th surgery. And that November 15th was 3 days before she had her 10th surgery. And this is at Nemours. And this will not be her last surgery. And so when you think about Ella, she wants to be a pediatric IR surgeon, and that stands for interventional radiology. But that is the type of surgeon that has been operating on her whole life and will continue to operate on her. And she's a senior in high school. She just turned 18. She is applying to some of the best universities in the entire country. And as we're going through that process right now, it's, does she have a job? No. Will she have a job? No. Will she have student loan debt? No. Will she have student loan debt in medical school? And the answer is no. And so specifically, I mean, obviously all of our children are part of my why, for example, but just where we're at in the season with Ella applying to the universities, that is a why for me. And I just showed a slide a little bit ago where my message for the last 2 years has been to keep effing digging. And if I can go back to that slide, that is where I think so many of the industry is either in that fight mode. Well, a little bit of the industry is in the fight mode. Some are in the flight mode. You've seen so many leave the industry right now. So many are in the freeze mode right now, and that's just got to be the message. And so, one, I went to Amplify with Rene Rodriguez 5 years ago when he started Amplify, and I showed up there as a loan officer, and because I wanted to tell my story about keep effing digging, and I tell the story that my ex-wife called me one day when I was on the way home from work, and it's the call that no leader of a family ever wants to hear. And it was because there was no money in the bank and she had to leave the groceries at the cash register, for example. And some of the loan officers may be on this call, some of the loan officers that I'm speaking to specifically, we've just got to keep digging. There's so many that have quit the industry, that have left the industry. We know that the reward is coming. And I just want to be able to inspire and create impact to do that. And the other thing is, I went as a leader. I think that there's a lack of sales leadership right now. You know it, I know it. As I'm talking to loan officers, they're raising their hand, and I'm super, super tactical. And that's where, you know, I want to shift gears on this to make it tactical, because I truly think that there's not enough people that are clearly defined their why, just like I didn't have it as of 4 months ago. One of the questions I ask is, you know, do you have call reluctance? Because a lot of people have some call reluctance, some have a lot of call reluctance, for example. And I just think that if you got the why front and center, that call reluctance goes away, or it doesn't get in the way, I should say. And right now, we know that we have to be in that action and activity economy right now. And I talk about having quality referral partners that are going to introduce your ideal client or quality client, for example. But I think that we have to have both. I think we have to have quality, but I think that we also have to have quantity. And when I talk about the tools, I'm going to leave. Actually, I'll share several tools with you, Mitchell, that you can share with people later, because I think that we need to not only get clear on our why and our word for 2025 and what that business and personal goal is, but we need to know it about our referral partners. And so this right here, I've got a tracker, and it's called the Heart and Hustle Excel spreadsheet, and I have 40 tabs at the bottom, because we should be in relationship with 40 realtors. And I know that for some people that sounds like a lot, but again, helping our realtors get clear on what their word is for 2025, what their why is, what a volume goal, a income goal, what the number one personal goal is, their number one business goal, and then what's a habit that they're looking to work on. And so I will just share, when I started doing this, Mitchell, 4 phone calls, 4 conversations took me 2 hours to complete this form, because we're going so deep with our referral partners within that time frame, for example, and you're learning things about them that you don't know or didn't know before. And so we used to joke or have a script in the core, which I was coached in the core for almost 10 years. And on the Monday calls, when you're calling your realtors, there was a script that's, hey, Mitchell, did you work or did you play over the weekend? They're really not using that script as much anymore, but that script was all about me. Right? It was all about me from a standpoint that, did you work this weekend? Did you work any open houses? Do you have any leads for me? Versus if I know that one of my referral partners' whys is to bring their spouse home from work, so they no longer have to work, or they want to work out 3 days a week, for example. I can have that call and say, Mitchell, I want to check in and see if you won the week last week. I know you committed to working out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Did you work out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday? And if the answer is no, hey, Mitchell, what got in the way of you working out on Wednesday, for example? And so this form right here is where I think it becomes super, super tactical. Like, you're not showing up on those Monday calls asking if they worked or did they play. You're showing up that you truly care. And that's one thing that I want to get across is I want to always show up authentically. I want to show up that I truly care. And from a referral partner standpoint, I mean, we need to help each other get to the next level. Like, I talk about being a conversion partner, and I want my realtors, I want my financial advisors to feel like they're more successful because they've got a relationship with me. Does that make sense? The other thing is, I feel like if we're truly in relationship with our partners, right? We're not perfect when it comes to process. Things happen on a loan, but if we're in relationship and we mess up, we've got to own it. We've got to focus on getting better. But I think that if we're transactional with our referral partners, if we're not truly in relationship with them, then you're only as good as your last loan. And so I just got a text from one of my referral partners, and she said, do you know that you have 91% of our business? And you know who told her that? It's loan officers that are recruiting her or trying to get her to switch and do business with them. It's, what is Jason doing to where he gets 91% of your business? And so part of it comes down to the power of endorsement. Part of it comes down to the level of excellence that we deliver to our clients, for example. But again, I want to truly be in relationship. I want to be friends with who I'm doing business with. And one thing that I think is super, super important right now that I'm encouraging loan officers inside of our company, outside of our company to have, is to be able to share what your professional presentation looks like. So there should be a process for everything that we do. And so can you share what it looks like when an agent refers a lead to you? From lead to pre-approval, for example, what does your client consultation look like? Can you share that with your referral partners? And then how do you manage or protect the pre-approvals, for example? So we have a 17-week pre-approval process. But one of the things that came back to me, Mitchell, is I'm really not going out and trying to attract realtors right now. I'm looking at growing my leadership brand right now, and obviously attracting additional loan officers. But I had an agent that I closed a loan with back in November that then was doing a listing appointment and said, "Well, I think this property has some potential," and so she went ahead and basically went under contract for that property and to buy it as an investment property. And I took her through my client appointment, and she was like, wow, I never knew what the advice you gave. And so our realtors don't know what we're saying to the clients. They don't know how that we're helping them win. And so that's where I think is super, super important for most on this video or mastermind are you're going after new realtors. And I think that second or third meeting must be you sharing what it's like to work with you. And so do you have that professional presentation? Is it the same every single time? And I will say it is. Now, my presentation is the same, whether it's a first-time buyer or the $1 million buyer, just the advice is going to be different. And I like to talk about Bruce Lee, for example. He wasn't scared of the guy that knew 5,000 kicks. He was scared of the guy that knew one kick that he practiced and perfected 5,000 times, for example. So again, from an action plan standpoint is, do you have that lead process from lead intake to pre-approval? Then what does that client presentation look like? And then what is your protection for the pre-approval? There should be a process that you can deliver in that regard. Now, one thing I'm going to also share that is a hack, and I'll give all of these tools, is One, I use Mortgage Coach, and I know that a lot of people on this call use Mortgage Coach. The awesome thing about that is it's super, super clear. It really gives financial advice, or allows you to give financial advice around the mortgage process, for example. Anytime that you make a change within Mortgage Coach, that's going to be changed on the buyer side, for example. Now, what I also do is I basically, before loan disclosures are going to go out, and you'll see in the top right hand side where it says the loan estimate, for example, I do a bomb screen record over top of the loan estimate and go through that. It takes me about 3 minutes to completely review the loan estimate, and then another minute or two to go ahead and email that out. And when I email it out to the buyers, I copy my team on that, and that is their permission to release the loan estimate, or I should say the loan disclosures, to the clients. It has cut down on so much time. It's provided so much clarity around the experience, both to the client and the referral partner. Sometimes I copy the referral partners on some of this with the buyer's permission. But again, loan disclosures are signed immediately. They very few times do does my team get a phone call, for example. Same thing for rate lock and change of circumstance, and then the initial closing disclosure. So those are a few things that I think are super, super important. Now I'm going to stop the screen share. And then I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Are you able to see my screen, Mitchell?
Oh. Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to pop up. There it is.
Okay, so this is the Excel spreadsheet that I will share with you. And this is realtor specific only. And so you can see at the very bottom, I have 40 tabs in here. Again, going back to the number of realtors that we recommend you being in relationship with right now. Now, I am a big fan of growing your realtor email database as big as you possibly can, because you're going to pick up onesie twosie deals by your drip marketing that you're going to do. Now, your top 40 realtors you want to be in relationship with, you want to spend time with, you want to celebrate and do life with. But having a few hundred realtors in your database, for example, and one analogy that I use is, when you think of whale hunting, well, what do you think about? Well, you think about a harpoon. Well, there's only so many whale realtors in our markets, for the example. But then when you think about tuna fishing, well, you're catching them on a fishing pole. And so we need to have some tunas, and we need to have some whales in our realtor relationships. But then when you think of shrimping, well, you're dragging the shrimp net behind the boat. And that's where I believe in growing a monster realtor email list, so that you can drip market on them. And I will just share that you should have marketing that goes out to your realtor community once a week, once every other week, for example. At very minimum, it should be monthly. But I just did something 2 weeks in a row around a 1-0 buy down. And I said, do you know that a 1% drop in rate is the equivalent of a 10% drop in price reduction? And there's still so much misunderstanding around the temporary buy downs, for example. But I got referrals from 7 agents on there that I have never worked with. I'm up to 4 leads from one particular agent just by seeing this. And I had a coach years ago that did loans with 193 different agents because of this strategy, for example. And again, you're just dragging that shrimp net behind the boat. But guys, if you can see this right here, like, think about this, having this form completed for every single one of your agents to know truly what their word for 2025 is. Again, mine is impact. To know what their why is. And so again, mine is my mom, it's Gwen's parents, it's our children, it's my professional family, it's the loan officers out there that don't work for me, that lack that sales leadership, for example. Those are super, super clear. And then obviously you saw that I have that picture or collage of my parents and Gwen's parents and our children, for example. And then what is a volume goal or what's an income goal for your agents to truly know that. And you can see that, hey, if you did 4 loans with that particular agent, for example, but they did 12 buy sides, for example, hey, what would have to happen for me to be able to get introduced to the other buy sides that maybe I didn't get, for example? Or I did this exercise with a mastermind that I also facilitate, and I know that one of my agents wants to grow to having 8 producing agents on her team in addition to herself. Well, right now she's got 4 agents, so that means potentially I've got a net 4 agent pickup from my number 1 referral partner, for example. So I know that because I'm having these business partner planning conversations, for example, and I have another one that was in that mastermind that wants to grow from 5 to 15 agents, for example. These aren't pay to play relationships. These aren't the pay to play relationships. These are referral based agents that are looking to grow their team, looking to grow their influence. And that's where you can literally have a big part in this. Now, what's the number 1 personal goal? Like, one of my agents, for example, said that she wanted a quarterly getaway with her husband, and that was her number 1 personal goal outside of kids or outside of family, for example. And here's where I took it to the next level. I wrote him a handwritten card letting him know that his wife shared with me that her number 1 personal goal was having a quarterly getaway with him outside of family and kids. Like, how cool would that be for you to receive that letter as a man? Amazing. That would feel really, really good. So that's where, as you're having these conversations, I think you can also take it to the next level by sending a handwritten card to the spouse or significant other. And then knowing what that number 1 business goal is, for example. And that's where, again, growing from 5 agents to 15 agents, growing from 4 producing agents to 8 producing agents. That's what I know. Another one was to go from 18 million to 30 million. Guess what? That's a nice uptick in volume that I'm going to benefit from. But I know that because I'm having these conversations with them. Now, again, what is a habit to improve on every single quarter? And that is something that you can hold them accountable to. And so that's where I think, guys, this is so, so important to have this on our referral partners. Now, we also have to have a balanced business, and I don't think that it can all be dependent on realtors, for example. We also need to be looking for new realtors in most cases. We know that the ebbs and flows of their businesses right now, especially tied to the market, we never let the market dictate our results. So I also have one for VIPs. And what a VIP is an influencer in our business outside of, let's say, realtors. And I think that there's a big opportunity for financial advisors. I think that financial advisors should make up about 20% of your business right now. They are a business person in most cases. They're going to be loyal. There's going to be a strength in that relationship. And a lot of times, the financial advisor is not looking for you to reciprocate clients. They're looking for you to take great care of their clients. Now, for those of you that are in leadership on this call, I think that we also need to have it around our loan officers. And so depending on how many loan officers you have, having this about your loan officers is super, super important to know, again, what their word is, what their why is, and what that number 1 personal goal. So one of my loan officers, his number 1 personal goal, which is also his business goal, is to bring his wife home, not having to work anymore. She's commuting about 45 minutes without traffic each way. That is really, really tough. So we know that he has to earn about $75,000 more in order to bring her home. And then we've got to reverse engineer from a business planning standpoint. How many referral partners is that? How many additional leads is that? How many pre-approvals is that? And how many contracts is it to get to that extra $75,000 in income to bring her home? And again, this is a business tactic. You know, this is going to take a long time to get that. But if you have all of this information on your clients, or I should say your referral partners, you show up differently. And this is something that honestly has grown legs ever since I've been talking about this. And each time we're we're talking about this, I'm sharing it, I'm programming myself to really have my why front and center. And like I said, to make it super tactical. And so, Mitchell, I will share all of these Excel worksheets so that you can have those to be able to share with all of the guests. But again, we need to take massive action right now. I think we need to have that beginner's mindset to really, again, I see newer loan officers in the business that are winning right now, that are taking the right action. We joke and said that one of our loan officers didn't even know there was a T in mortgage because he takes that much action and he's newer to the business, for example. But guess what? He's recruiting more agents than most seasoned veterans in the business and now has tons of momentum, for example. The other thing I'll just say is be, again, the one who shows up. Be the one who shows up and cares the most. Let me just stop presenting. Be the one who shows up the most and cares the most. Gandhi said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. One thing I also talk about is everything is a learned skill. Everything is a learned skill. It's about putting in the reps right now. Winners take imperfect action. We have a quote in our training room: winners take imperfect action while losers perfect their plan. And yes, that is a great book, Dan. That is where the one word is based on. I'm drawing a blank right now on the author, John Gordon. But yes, the word feeds into the why, for example, that then feeds into the business and the personal goals. And that's where I think that, again, we can be super tactical when it comes down to this. And again, I'll just say, be the one who shows up authentically and intentionally. Don't be the one who makes the phone call just to check it off the list. We have something that we call the greatness tracker that tracks our sales activities. And every one of us has showed up and just checked off the box versus showing up like you truly, truly care about your referral partners. Move people with their why. Move people with their why. But guess what? It starts with me. It starts with you. We always have to walk our talk first before we can help others. The quickest way to learn a new skill is to teach it to other people. And again, that's where I hope that this can really make a difference for you. And in closing, I'll just say, family moments are fleeting. Don't take anything for granted. Make the time count and be successful at the things that matter most.
Awesome, man. And I don't know, a couple of years ago, Laura Brandeo and I had a podcast called the Leadership Mastermind Podcast, and we had David Licken on as a guest, and he really dove into that, your why thing, and amazing story he told on there. So if you guys were listening to this, go find that replay of that podcast. It was pretty cool, and I still quote that story. He's an amazing guy, amazing storyteller, and I still quote that story that he told me probably 100 times to loan officers. So, finding your why is very important. If you're going to do it right and you want to be successful, you gotta determine that. And it's cool that you found that out just recently. My why wasn't enough. Yeah.
What is your why, if I can ask you?
I probably need to dive into mine a little bit more too. I think I've lived my life more in survival mode than planning mode, and so that's probably something I need to work on, is diving into my why and getting things drilled down and settled in and not live so wild and sporadically. I feel like sometimes it's kind of where I sit. So,
yeah. Well, the morning of the mastermind where this epiphany started happening, one of the loan officers in there said that he was going through Simon Sinek's process right now and literally hired a facilitator to bring out his why, because it was so close to him that somebody that is a family member or a friend or a peer couldn't bring that out. And so, again, this is somebody that's 50 years old. I just turned 51, for example. So it just makes you think about how many people really truly aren't clear on their why. And that is almost every single conversation that I've had. And that's why it's really growing legs, because I'm pulling it out of other people. And just like you're like, hey, maybe my why isn't clear enough. Maybe I need to spend more time getting clear on the why. And then I think just having it and talking about it isn't even enough. I think that we need to have it in front of us to where we see that multiple times a day. And so, you saw the pictures of my family, for example. I get to see those every single day. My wife wrote impact on my mirror at the house, and then there's a red cardinal that symbolizes, my dad's passing and that he's watching as well.
Love it. And we had on the last event we had Chris Vincent on, and he talked about his word, for the year, but it wasn't a word; it was a number, and that was really cool. I'm sure you've heard, that. And
212.
Yep, 212. That was like, really inspiring to me. Like, holy, that's what it is. It just takes one degree it's the difference. One thing a little bit better could change your life.
Well, and we talk about, you could be one phone call away. You could be one appointment, one meeting, one relationship away from changing your life and changing your business. And I tell a story when I first got into the business, and I was only a month or two in, and we went to the Orange County Convention Center for the Home and Garden Show on a Saturday morning. And I went there with my cousin, who's my business partner, and my dad. I hadn't closed a loan. No experience, no scripting, no coaching, didn't know what to say. But when I stepped through that door that morning, or the doors that morning, I just knew that every single paying vendor was there and had something to sell. And just maybe I was the loan officer that would be that person to help them do that. And I don't know if I had 100, 150, 200 talk tos that day, but I won the day. But I only got one relationship out of there, but it was a big sunroom dealer. And my first year and a half in the business, I think I made over 6 figures just from that one account until they sold the franchise. But again, you could be one phone call or one relationship away from changing your life and changing your business.
Right. Well, we got a lot of people watching here today. So in the comments, why don't you guys drop your why? Let's see some of these, see some of you guys' whys, and be cool to see. So, if anybody has any questions for Jason, let's drop those in the comments as well. I know it seems like half of the people tuning in are more from Florida. I got Florida. I mean, it does make sense. I guess it's only 7:30 in California, so maybe people are probably not quite ready for the big event over there. But let's see here. And if you guys are tuning in, make sure you registered for both days of the event, because it is 2 separate registrations. And, I'm looking at the numbers, and there's like a 75% gap or 75 member gap between day 1 and day 2. So make sure you register for both. You will get a replay at the end of the day. StreamYard automatically sends that out, so look for that. It'll show you, the exact replay of the event as soon as it's done. So let's take a look here.
I love that.
All right. Well, we got someone that's brave enough to put their why out there. There you go.
I love that, darling.
I've been with the same company for 40 years, so I want to pay off her home by Christmas. Love it.
If that doesn't get you up in the morning and keep you smiling, dialing, I don't know what will.
Here's another one, Bill. Help people increase their net worth so they can be more generous and impactful to things they're passionate about. I love it. That's awesome.
Love that.
Hey, here we got an action taker right here. Kim is tuning in from Alaska. I don't even know what time it is in Alaska, but it's early. What time is it there, little Kim? All right, let's see. Kim's word is purpose. I love it. Greg wants to be able to give his wife the option to quit her job and retire early.
I love that, Greg. And that's the same thing that one of my loan officers is looking to do too. And like I said, we just had to reverse engineer what it would take metrically to increase that income $75,000 so that becomes an option. You could do the same thing.
Love it. Oh, we got another one here. To enable people to realize the American dream, That's great. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
I want to impact my employees' lives in a positive way and guide them to impact our clients' lives in a positive way.
Love that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy
And like I said,
employees.
take the heart and hustle exercise where you know that. And that's where, again, being able to hold people accountable to their why and to their word versus to a number, for example, it's so different. It changes everything. And that's where in my journal every day I write relationship, meaning you have to be in relationship plus accountability is where the results happen.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, man, I appreciate you joining us today. I'm glad that, I was connected with you because of Chris Vincent, who's a good friend of mine and a great leader, so.
Yes, sir.
And he spoke very highly of you. So I appreciate you joining us and appreciate you giving us, your time today and volunteering to do that. Let's see here. Crystal, I have 10 years of hustle and grind. After that, I want to homeschool our kids while traveling around the world. Possible. We could be coming into a time in this industry where, the highs can get real high again. So,
yeah.
10 years, you got a lot of time to make money. And one thing I've noticed is people that have only been in this business a year or two are doing a heck of a lot better than some that have been in it for 20 because they didn't know the good times. Like
Yep.
Now's the good times to them. You know what I mean? It's like they don't know a difference. Like you and I knew what 2021 was like. They don't. So they're just out there hustling and grinding and doing their thing. And when the good times hit, they're going to be real shocked.
Well, and that's where I say most call it seasoned veterans are out of selling or sales shape, for example. But I also think that there is a market share gap that's happening right now. So I see the top producers are getting more of that market share, for example, both on the real estate side and lending side. And I think that may also continue.
Awesome. Brian, love it, man. Brian says, having survived stage 4 cancer, I know how things in life can change so quickly and you can lose it all. My why is to equip people to build their teams and dreams. Love that.
Oh.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what, man, Darwin said thank you. That was amazing. He's stoked. So that's a good way to end it. I'm going to bring on our first sponsor of the day. And Jason, appreciate you. And
thanks, Mitchell. Appreciate you, bud. Have a good day, man.
You too. All right, we're going to bring on our first sponsor of the day, Mr. Derek Doss from MLO Flow. How are you, sir?
Doing wonderful, Mitch. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing
first
well.
Sponsor. If you're not first, you're last. I love it.
Right, exactly. Well, I'm going to give you the stage, so you can go ahead and tell us all about MLO Flow or whatever you want to share with the audience today.
Sure. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Well, first of all, thank you for having us. Love being a sponsor to these events. I think it's just very valuable for LOs looking for golden nuggets to help build their businesses. So I am one of the co-founders of MLO Flow Mortgage CRM. Kind of what I want to talk about today is not the CRM itself, but more along the lines, we have a lot of people that come into the CRM world that really don't understand how to use technology within their business themselves. So I saw an interesting statistic the other day, and to kind of reiterate and what Jason said, I heard the word relationship. So what CRMs are built to do is really engage that relationship and keep that relationship going, not just during the loan process, but after that, right? To help build that snowball effect, how to create momentum. And one of the things I wanted to discuss today was the pre-approval stage. My marketing specialist found an interesting statistic last week that upwards of 70% of borrowers in the pre-approval process, right, while they're looking for a home, pre-approved and looking, fall out of the pipeline. So on the low end, it's 30%, and on the high end, it's 70%. So it could be 7 out of 10 potential borrowers, right, are falling out of your pipeline. So that's kind of what we strategically look to try to implement and figure out is where are the gaps, where do we strategize, And one of the ways that we look to do that is we create what's called blueprints. So for an example, on a pre-approval blueprint, when we saw those statistics, that was mind-boggling. I knew the number was high. I didn't think it was that high. So if other people are feeling it, then this is happening to the majority of people. And when I talk to clients, it is happening amongst everybody, especially once you start to scale and grow. So what we've done is we create very specific blueprints, and I'll show you what that looks like. Mitch, I don't know if I can share my screen here.
Yeah, just hit present and then share screen, and then I'll pop it in for you.
Perfect. Looking for, there we go. So for example, this is one of the blueprints that we've created around pre-approval, and this is what we help to implement, right? And you can do this whether you have a CRM or not. Utilizing a CRM just automates it, but what we want to do is keep the human touch. So we build out very specific call scripts, message framework. So this, for example, walks you through an entire 12-week pre-approved campaign that when somebody's in pre-approval, it sets up an entire process and it organizes you and your team to reach out to your pre-approved buyers week over week. So we also like to use automation and the human touch. There's nothing better than reaching out as the loan officer, continuing to build that trust, I think is imperative. That's how you gain referrals. That's how you ask for referrals. So one of the ways that we do that is once somebody goes into a pre-approved process, we have text messages that go out every single Friday. And then we also have a call log that gets set up every Thursday. So Thursday, you're reaching out personally. Going into the weekend, Friday, you're touching base via text. You're calling the buyer's agent. You're calling the buyer, the borrower, the co-borrower, and you're asking for referrals in each one of these calls, generating new business. So number one, you're preventing fallout, right? You don't want to be that individual that's getting a 70% fallout. So you're retaining the hard work that you put in getting somebody up to that pre-approval process. They're right there looking for homes. So let's make sure we stay in contact. And then above and beyond that, you're showing that you're staying in communication, the buyer's agent's happy, the borrowers are happy, and you're continuing to build trust along the way. And then also preventing that fallout. So these are within a CRM, there's multiple ways that you can create multiple blueprints because, throughout different stages. So you got post-close, you got pre-approved, you got documents requested, app started, app sent. So these are all breaks along the process that creates fallout. And that's what we try to prevent. And this is where we help. So whatever CRM you're using, if you're looking to automate, just make sure that you have a strategy going into this so you know exactly what to focus on. Because if you're a master of too many things, you become a master of none. So we help to train and teach on where to focus first, turn that into a well-oiled machine, and then move on to the next until you have a fully well-equipped, well-oiled machine. So I have no problems even sending this out to the group. My email is ddos@mloflow.com. So if any of you want this blueprint, I'll give it out to you. If you want to use it in your own CRM, use it on your own. I have no problems giving that value out. I think, we're here to help anybody and everybody grow their business. So I have no issues doing that. So Mitch, if you want to post that, anybody that emails me, I'll go ahead and drop it to them. But that's what we're here to do. And that's all we got today. So thank you, Mitch. Really appreciate the time. Again, my name is Derek Doss, MLO Flow. We're very easy to find. If you want to check us out and talk about any of these potential blueprints, we're here to help you.
Awesome. Yeah. And if you want to get those to me, I'm going to be sending out Jason's PDFs and, to everybody that attends. So if you want to get that to me, then I can send that out to everyone as well. So to answer anyone's questions, yes, I will be sending out. At the end of the day, I'll be sending out that information. So awesome, Derek. I appreciate you for joining us, and thank you for sponsoring the event, man. And I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nestor, for the shout out. Love you back.